Afternoon, everyone. I've been waiting for a long time to say this. Welcome to Tuesday Chat with Coach Rowe. I will be your host today. Normally I'm the co-host, so it's kind of nice to be driving the car this time. But today we actually have, all joking aside, today we actually have something to present with you that is can be serious, but also can be good. Um, and and we're going to talk about we have a great relationship with the Broward Sheriff's Office, and Sergeant Levy has been gracious enough to come on and really talk to us and do a little think before you post presentation. Um, we give our young ones cell phones or devices at an early age for a lot of reasons. One, it's a necessity of today's world. We all work on computers each and every day, whether you're in school or at your job. And then oftentimes we give those cell phones or smart devices for a reason of protection, right? So that our children can communicate with us. We know where they are. We know that they're safe, but we don't oftentimes give them these tools. We give them these things without giving fully the tools to work with them, right? The greatest invention in the history of the world is the internet, and it's the most powerful thing for both good and for bad. And it's access to endless amounts of information. And then we do this little up here at the upper campus when they get older. We talk to them about the power of the internet. And I ask everybody, I always start by saying, I didn't get my license to fly a plane, but I'm flying to Barbados tomorrow. Who's getting on the plane with me? And no, and they all laugh. I'm like, I'm not getting on the plane, Coach Roy. You'll crash us. But it's the same thing. It's the power of something, right? Without having the tools to really navigate what that does and what it looks like. Because oftentimes, what they're doing can be innocent, have no malintent, no real intention, but wind up getting themselves in trouble because of the power of the internet and the repetitive nature of it, and that it doesn't disappear, and then what it does after that. So we really want our little ones. The technology is not going anywhere. It's only going to become greater as we move on. So we want our little ones to have a full tool bag to navigate this future and what this world looks like, and to do it responsibly, so that they're not getting themselves, in positions that make it difficult for them, because it's hard to be a teenager today. Things don't go away or disappear, so those one mistakes can oftentimes follow you for years to come. So we want to make sure that we're equipping them and we're being proactive in our education on technology and the internet, and not reactive. So I'm going to stop because the expert is here, which is Sergeant Levy. I'm going to turn it over to him and let him really dive a little deeper, and there'll be an opportunity for everybody to ask some questions as well. And then we'll circle back at the end here. So Sergeant Levy, it's all yours.
Thanks, Dave. And just want to say, I thought you said it was going to be a short opening. I was wondering when it was going to stop, but and also thanks to Mel and the rest of her staff for allowing me to come on to talk to the parents that decided to show up today. Um, I've done this program, Think Before You Post, for many years. I would say 4 years at least now. I've done it at Sagemont for maybe some of your kids already, and it's a really good program. And I do this, or I did it. I don't know. We haven't really done it this year, but I've done this program for Cypress, for some of the other schools, because it's important. And in my previous capacity, I was a detective in our threat management unit, which got started after the MSD thing, and I would say half the time I was investigating these school threats that came in from people who are posting, whether they were serious or not. We still take it as if it's serious. And some of the stuff actually happened here in Weston at Cypress Bay. So I'm going to condense the presentation because I know we're short on time, and it's going to be me just speaking things to you. If you have questions, just write them down, because when I finish, I will take the questions before you get to the counselors. That way, they'll have your attention the whole time. And what they're doing, I think, is a great program. What Mel has told me about it, I think that is something super important. to have. I wish more schools would have it, but I digress. All right, so when kids get an electronic device, whether it's a cell phone primarily, a computer, an iPad, even game machines, they all have access to the internet and they all have the ability to post things, to search things, to interact with people on chat boards. And what they put out there is never going to be private. And we'll talk about that in a second. But it stays with you in the future. It stays with you when you try to go to colleges. A lot of colleges now require you to give them your social platforms so they can check on you. Employers, coaches, everything's going to be out there online. You know, I grew up in a different generation. Many of you grew up in a different generation. My son, they're addicted to this phone, and they're very intuitive. They're very smart, and it's very important that we're on top of it. Because whether, like I said before, whether it's a joke or not, you're going to get caught. Bottom line is you're going to get caught. The kids, like I just said, think they're smart, but unfortunately for them, we're a little bit smarter, and we've got the resources that they don't have. Even the most brilliant hackers and spammers and the whole 9 yards, we still have the resources, and because we can escalate it all the way up to the FBI, and they've got unlimited resources. So we have a unit that, like I said, the threat management unit, and once we get a threat to a school, like I said, whether it's a joke or not, so-and-so is bringing a gun, someone overheard them bringing a gun, or I'm going to come there, I'm going to kill you. Once we get that, that opens the door, that unlocks the key, unlocks the door with a key for us to start doing an investigation. And when we do the investigation, we can go to a judge and get what's called, obviously, a search warrant. And that search warrant allows us to go into, first of all, we're going to find the IP address where that came from. Even if they start routing it around, eventually we're going to get to it. Also, social profiles. If someone makes a dummy profile and posts a picture of a gun to the head of a kid and says, I'm coming to you at school or whatever, we're going to get to that social media company. Now, Meta, which owns Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, they have a whole team of law enforcement liaisons that all day long they're dealing with these subpoenas that come in, and they give us all the information on this account, when it was created, who created, how it was created, where it was created, and we're able to track that. People will be found out, and then once they're found out, we usually, we're going to make that arrest. If it's at school, we're going to pull you out in school in cuffs. Everyone's going to know. If it's at home, we're coming to the home. We're arresting the kid in front of the neighbors, in front of the family, because a threat to kill is a very serious thing. Again, whether it's real or not, it's still serious. Schools, I don't know what Sagemont's and Mel and the other people can get involved after this, but I know at Cypress, if you do this type of thing, you're going to be expelled. You're going to be expelled from that school, and you have to find another school to go to. And again, you're going to a school, you're applying to a school, they already have you expelled for making school threats. Do you think the school wants you in there? So chances are you're going to be going to maybe an online school or a school that isn't as academically, like Sagemont is, fantastic for academics. It's got a great reputation. You're taking all that away, and you're going to be going to some crappy online school, online program. It's going to impact the rest of your life. And I'm not talking to you, the parents, I'm talking to the kids. You need to explain that to your kids, that this will affect you for the rest of life. Again, whether it's a joke or not, you're expelled. That has a huge impact on your life. When you try and get a job, say it is a legitimate threat, or you do post something that's inappropriate and you get arrested and it's a felony, and someone has the ability to look at your juvenile record for whatever type of job you're applying for, that felony is going to stick there. So it's a big deal. The court systems right now, especially in Florida, they have like almost a zero tolerance policy for this type of behavior. We show a video of the two judges you're going to see in juvenile court, and they're used to dealing with, people who commit burglaries, aggravated assaults, robberies, and now they're dealing with these kids, and they throw the book at them. For if it's a felony for 21 days, you're going to be down in juvie. That's bare minimum. Then whether you're adjudicated guilty, you're going to go to a program, and then you got to deal with the whole school thing after that. If you're in athletics, it's going to screw that up for you too. Posting online a written threat to kill or commit other forms of mass terrorism, aka active shooting, is a class 2 felony, and it's very serious. Not to mention that, we had one case where a guy sent a threat to the shuttle launch, all right, up at Cape Canaveral, and they had to post 24-hour security around the astronauts. They had to shut down military bases on the seaboard. That costs money, and they're not just going to eat it. They're going to go after the parents. These parents that were involved with that kid, they ended up having to pay $300,000. They were able to negotiate it down to $100,000, but still, that's $100,000 in addition to all the legal costs that have to go involved to keep your kid out of jail, because this kid thought it'd be cool to post a threat to the shuttle, even though it was a joke. Nobody takes it as a joke. So it's very serious to do that. Now, as we continue down with what you're posting, you got to think about cyberbullying. All right, cyberbullying is very serious. When someone was bullied as a kid, right, that can be dealt with because the bully can be removed. But when it's online, a lot of times you don't know where that's coming from. Every time you turn on your phone, every time you turn on your computer, you're getting a message, you're getting a posting. We've had cases here in Broward, and there's been other cases in Florida where kids end up taking their lives because it just was too much for them. And again, along those lines, the same thing with, we have a tendency from a lot of the older kids to, especially the male kids, they get a naked photo from this girl that they don't know, and they start a dialogue with them, and they ask for a naked photo back. When they give that naked photo back, it's not really that girl, it's some extortionist group. They say, we're going to send that photo to all your contacts unless you give us $500. We had a case where the guy came in, this dad came in, and he said, he's getting fraud because $1,500 was charged on his credit card 3 times. He didn't know where it was coming from. It turns out it was his son, and the son admitted to it, and they worked it out. But every year, there are kids who can't face that embarrassment, and they end up killing themselves. And you can look it up online. You can look it up. It's happened here in Florida, and it's a tragedy. So how do we keep our kids safe from that? Well, it starts with you. It legitimately starts with you, the parents. As parents, if you're giving them a cell phone, you have every right to look what they're doing. You need to have an open dialogue with your kids. You need to explain these things to them that I'm explaining to you about how serious it is. There's no jokes. There's, you're playing an online game with somebody and you say that you're going to go over there and shoot them in the face. That's recorded somewhere. And that's the other thing too. These kids think, they use Snapchat, that it disappears. It doesn't disappear. It's stored on a server. And again, law enforcement has the ability to get that stuff out. It's not going to disappear. Just like if kids are sending naked photos back to each other. Well, they think this happens a lot with girls. They send something to the guy. They think it's just the guy, but the guy's friend takes a snapshot of it, or he has another girlfriend. She takes a snapshot of it, and then she sends it to everybody. And we've had that happen here in Weston many times. It's not private. Anything you post is not going to be private. There's no such thing. So again, you need to see what their kids are posting. You need to be able to go into their phones, whether you have the facial recognition to swipe up and look at the phone, and You could do it in front of your kid. You could do it without your kid there. See who they're messaging. See what they're posting. See what they're searching on Google or whatever whatever internet program they're using. See why they're looking at stuff, right? It's a way to have a dialogue with them. Why are you looking at this? Are you curious about this? When it comes to sex, are you curious about this? What are you learning? What are you looking at? If you have any questions, talk to me. Talk to your older brother before I talk to them, or after I talk to them, right? But you need to know what they're doing, and because if you don't, that's when these bad things happen. If you see that they're getting these threats, they're getting bullied, you need to talk to them, and you can tell them too. Say, listen, I get it. I'm your parent. You don't want to talk to me, but go talk to Coach Rowe, right? You've been with him for a while. You know him. You have a good relationship with him. Talk to him, or one of these counselors, right? That you talk to. They're not going to judge you for what's going on. It's important that they have that ability, because especially as they get to that teenager age, they're at that most vulnerable for these bad impressions, and because they're not really formed on the consequences thing. But if I post something, it's not going to be a big deal. But if I post an image of a gun to my friend's group, and the mother sees that, she calls Fortify Florida, or she calls Safer Watch. Guess what? We have police units at the school the next morning, and we're investigating it. So that's the important thing. The internet is a very great place, like the coach said, but it's also very dangerous. And it's important for you guys to be involved in your kids' lives. So with that, if you have any questions, I can stay on for a little bit before the counselors come, and well, they're here, but before they talk.
I didn't see any in the chat. Did anybody have any questions for Officer Levy? And he's going to hang around here for a little bit.
Sure.
That was just so powerful, Officer Levy. I'm sitting here with Felicia and Monica, and the words that you're speaking for the parents to hear. And I really hope we're all listening and hearing, because those conversations are so important. It's so important for us to be not detached from our kids and really in tune with what they're doing at each moment, and knowing that an open dialogue and open communication is so critical and important as we're raising them together. So all I have to say is that was truly powerful. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Sergeant Levy. This is Miss Becerra, the upper school school counselor. And just to add a few more things, as you already touched on, and Mr. Rowe, is like, unfortunately, the world is different from when we were brought up and raised. And the children today think that online life is just as real as offline, right? So sometimes they can't determine the difference and the separation of the two. And what I want to point out is I like to kind of think about posting and things like that. I came up with an acronym for this title of our today's topic, which was, think before you post, which was like, the T would stand for, is it something true that you're putting online, right? Is it something helpful? Is it something inspiring? Is it something necessary? And is it something kind? So kind of, if you live through that when you're looking and posting and doing certain things, I think that, if you kind of go off of that, and as parents, our students and our children look up to us. So it's kind of like, my kids are in college, so it's a little different now, but we also have shared experiences of like, I have a Life 360 on them, and Life 360 is that I can see good things that they're doing, right? I can see where they're going, how fast they're going in the car. So there are lots of positive things as well as the negative things to online. So I think that we also have to remember as parents, yes, this is a tool. And I think Mr. Rose said it best, would you want to fly in a plane without the pilot taking lessons? So we're giving them this tool, this phone at first, whatever grade you choose to do that. But did you set parameters? Did you set boundaries? Did you talk about the phone? I think Miss Nelson said it best when we were in a brainstorming meeting, was like, she says that she has constant checks. And I love this. Like, they're in the car driving and all of a sudden they stop and go to the store and they say, and she says, okay, phone check, let me see your phone. So I love that. I love setting boundaries with your children about, it's okay to ask them for the passcode. You bought the phone, you're purchasing the phone, you're paying for the phone, right? So it's okay to be the parent and they're the children. It's okay also to not have them take the phone to their room at nighttime. They have to charge it in the kitchen or in a place where you can see the phone, because I'll be honest with you, sometimes at nighttime, if kids, especially I deal with the upper school, which is grades 6 through 12, and a lot of the high school students, they just don't know when to disconnect, and they don't know when to not use the phone all the time. Every 5 seconds they're on it. So sometimes we just need a reset in our brain to like, let me just put my phone away and just, actually be a kid. So I think sometimes we forget that as parents, that we are the parent and we're trying to do the best with our children. And sometimes we don't want our children upset with us or angry. So we just kind of ignore things and let it go by. But there are, yes, there's the negative aspect, but also, like I was saying, there's the positive too. But just understanding those parameters with your child. And so making sure that you have those conversations as family, making sure that you know the boundaries that, they're going to, what a third grader is doing or a fifth grader is not what a 10th or 11th grader is going to do it. I think the new game out is Roblox, and I feel very old because maybe it's been out for a long time, but I'm not sure. But it's called Roblox. But with Roblox, you can play other people online, right? So if I'm a third or fourth grader and I'm letting people into this game and letting them play, I don't know if that person really is a child, a third grader, or they could be an adult lying and saying that they are younger. So these are those things that you definitely need to monitor in today's society. Unfortunately, you want to make sure that the people that your child is talking to online is a person of appropriate age. So you want to set those privacy settings very early on and make sure that those are in place. And I just making sure that, obviously, like I said, is circle back every so often to have conversations with your child and making sure that they know that this is a tool, like Mr. Rose said, but we want to use it in the right way. And like Sergeant Levy touched is like, bosses can see what you're doing. And none of this ever goes away. It's always here. It's online forever. Bosses can see, getting into a college can see. It's not like when we went to school. So it's a bit different now. And so you always want to make sure that your children are doing this the right way, and having clear boundaries up front is the key. We are going to talk about a contract in a little bit that we kind of did together as a Sagemont family, and I think Mr. Rose is going to touch on that in a minute, but I do think that the lower school guidance counselor wants to add a few things as well.
Can I,
Yes.
jump in just real
Yeah.
quick before, and just so the families know, Roblox is very popular. It's very popular from a young age on. So if you aren't aware, in Roblox, you can set up private rooms where you only invite in their friends to play that have access to that room. So I would encourage, if they are playing in these, a lot of these gaming platforms have these safety precautions set up. If you do a little digging in there, you can set it up where you know exactly what friends are invited in there so that they can play and nobody else can get access without like the parent's facial recognition to get in, or the parent's credit card to get in, so that it's extra measures to stop that from happening. And a lot of these games have that. So if they are online and enjoying a game as harmless as Roblox, just do your due diligence to take a look at what those parent parameters that these programs already have built in, so that you can set those up just so that they can play safely amongst their friends and it does remain innocent. So I just wanted to let you guys know.
On the same lines of that, Coach Rowe, I was going to ask Sergeant Levy on the topic of apps. If there's anything out there that's new, I know that they're always developing new apps, hidden things, ways to hide other apps within apps. And I didn't know if you could share a couple of those that we as parents might need to be kind of eyeballing when perusing our children's phones.
So are you looking for a parental app, or are you looking for what apps on the kids' phones that you should be looking at?
That one, the second.
So obviously it's going to be the Messengers app. So Messengers, Snapchat, Instagram Messenger, kids really don't use Facebook. We use Facebook. They don't use Facebook. They're way into Snapchat, because if they don't post a snap a day, they end up losing their snap streak, and then they ask you for money so they can get back where they were. If that hasn't happened already, it will happen. But I would look at those, and then of course I would look at Google, Bing, Safari, and see, what search history that they're doing, what tabs they have open, and then I'd also look at obviously their phone history. Are they making phone calls at 2 o'clock in the morning? Who are they calling if they have the phone? I like what the counselor said about setting the phone up outside to charge. Depending on the age, I mean, I used to do that too. And then look at the Photos app. Look at what photos that they have, and you should have access to the hidden photos, right? That's where you get into problems. Again, you're the parent. I mean, sometimes these are tough conversations, but you might be stopping something bad from happening.
I wanted to add that
Okay.
you have to have these conversations early, and not just when you decide to give them the phone. You have to layer it and start early, and again, they're all playing Roblox. They're all on social media, navigating platforms that you may not even know how they function. I think one good piece of advice that I can give is, as a parent myself, is to get on these apps yourself if you're not already. Be on the Instagram, be on the Snapchat, do things in it so you can learn the ins and outs of it, because all of them have teen restrictions, even where you can supervise. Like on Instagram, you can supervise your child's teen account if you are going to let them do this. And I know that we have a lot of people on the call ranging probably from 4 years old and up, but it starts at a certain point, and it's just one of the many topics that you're going to have to talk about as a parent. But you got to start soon, and then eventually lead up to, when you actually give them that device, because as they get older and they've been doing this and they know all the ins and outs, once they start driving, now that's something even new that you have to talk to them about, what you should be doing with your phone while you're driving, or, it just gets more complex. So what my advice would be is to start soon, and to start diving deep into those apps and learning more about it. And if you're not a tech savvy person, that's okay. There's AI out there. Get on ChatGPT and ask it, what are the different things that the kids are doing on Instagram or Snapchat? What is a Snap score? What does that mean? And it can guide you and teach you relatively fast, so you can have those appropriate conversations with your child when they come up, because your children will ask you while you're driving a car, and they'll just randomly ask a question, and you better have an answer. You can't just table it till later, because they're a very instant type of society, these little kids. So do your homework, and have those words and phrases, ready at at your fingertips.
And
I think also, hello,
And if I
sorry.
can, real quick, is that Ms. Cabrera? I'm going to let you go, but I wanted to circle back to Ms. Sorokin's question. Officer Levy did a good job of the ones that are those standing in your face. A lot of apps are designed to hide the app behind it. So it looks like a calculator, but something else is behind it. So as you're going through the phone, I don't notice, that's not recognizable to me, right? Like you don't have to be on Snapchat to know what Snapchat looks like. But why is there two calculators? The one I'm used to seeing in another calculator. Why is there this random blue icon that I've never recognized anywhere before? Because not only can they click that and hide the app behind it, they also have secondary photos that won't be in their photos that they can move over there when they click, and it holds a bunch of photos. So as you're going through, if it looks innocent and you're like, I've never seen that, so it's not anything that Officer Levy mentioned, but I don't recognize it, just tap it and see what opens up from that as well, because they do create these apps to make them mask what's actually behind them.
Before Vivian goes, I'm sorry. Along those lines, I'm not an Android guy, so I don't know how it is on the Android, but with the iPhone, when I first gave my kid the iPhone, I have it set up so nothing can be installed unless because it's all my accounts, all family account, nothing can be installed unless I approve it. So I get a request, and I'll look at the app to see what it is, and if it's an app that's worthwhile having, I have no problem with it. So I'm very, I'm still aware of what's being put onto his phone.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vivian Cabrera. I'm the school counselor at the lower campus. And I think that it's also very important, circling back to what Mrs. Casera said, was it actually goes before you give your child a phone. Children here, especially young children, since I do work at the lower campus, they're very impressionable. So they look at whatever they see. They are a product of their environment in so many ways. So they see the presence that you have on your social media or the presence that you have on the internet, and what, as parents, you do. If you're posting these pictures, if you're, on the phone constantly, taking the phone to bed and not being able to interact because you're on your phone, or your online presence, how that works, how you use the internet. If you use it in a positive manner, if you use it in more of a negative manner, you may not think that your children are paying attention, but they pay attention more than what you know. And they repeat and they mimic, and they think that it's okay because mom and dad are doing it. And they sometimes don't understand that we are adults, and we do know the difference between right or wrong, or we do know the long-term repercussions of it all. So they don't understand that. They're very much impressionable with what you do and what you post. And by you being more mindful of your internet presence and your online and social media presence, being mindful of what you post and the pictures that you post, because friends, their friends, their mothers or their fathers can see what's going on. And so it becomes that conversation. Did you see the picture that so-and-so's mom put? And so it becomes more of a bigger problem, because you think that your child's not paying attention, but they are. Children as young as 3 or 4, they pay attention to how much mom and dad are on the phone, or what they're actually posting, or what they like and what they don't like. And now with AI, it becomes it can be very helpful, and it can be very positive. You can use AI, like Mrs. Casera said, to answer these questions that you may have. But it can also be harmful. AI generators, the way they generate pictures and they alter these pictures. A lot of these kids think that just because, like Snapchat is going to delete in 24 hours, they can't take those pictures, but they can. People can take pictures without your knowledge. Then, you upload these pictures, or even you upload the pictures of your children online. As they get older, their internet presence is kept online even without their permission. Before they turn 18, the parent has already posted all of these pictures of their kids online. So I think it's also even before they even get a phone, and it's just being more mindful and being more aware of what's going on.
Together, Ms. Cabrera and I kind of came up with, if you would like, maybe a contract with your child. And I think someone can, if Mr. Rowe wants to talk a little bit more about that. But we did decide that, if you are going to have the phone, and for whatever grade you give the child, that, maybe you should have a family contract and sit down and talk about it together as a family.
So we made 2 of them for you. One that's appropriate for the lower campus, and one that would be more appropriate for the upper campus. And it's no contract between us and Sagemont Prep. It's more between for you and your families. And it gives you talking points. If you're like, okay, I just got all this information. This is a lot. I don't know where to start. It's going to provide the talking points for you about what at each grade level or campus level is what's the most prevalent, or at least gives you the conversation to get started, or for you to point you in the right direction about what to look up and maybe educate yourself a little bit more on. But this is a great opportunity to start the conversation with you and your children. And again, it's not between the school and you. It's for you guys, and to help guide your conversation. And then you sign something between it. I know one thing's for sure. When I was younger, there's a lot of people that I maybe could have said something dishonest to or not, but my mom wasn't one of them. And she just did too much for me. And it's times where I don't think I had hair because she drove me that crazy sometimes. And I to her, but it with the level of respect and care for everything she did for me. So if I was to sign something with her, I would be way more likely to honor that because of her and the respect I have for her. So I think it's just a great opportunity to get started and talking points to next steps to move from this conversation today that we've had with you.
David, I was able to pull it up. I think everybody can see it. Can you get a
Yeah.
thumbs up if you can see it? You can see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is, we kind of made kind of like a tool for you, like David was saying. We did a 6 through 12 version. The counselors did a really good job of creating this as a team, which is great. And then the second version that we can roll out, obviously, is the more lower school version that has different type of language, but says the same thing in essence. It is a contract between you and your child, right? It could be a very good tool. It's a paper contract. Yes, there's apps out there that do this as well. There's lots of them that will help you navigate a contract, because within an agreement that you get into with your child, there's always going to be a reward or a consequence. So if they don't use things appropriately, well, then you're not going to have your phone for that week. Or if you're not using Instagram appropriately, you're not going to have that for a set amount of time. So whichever way you choose, that's that conversation piece that we really want to strive for you to be having with your child. Did you want me to leave it up, counselors? I don't know if Miss Cabrera had a chance to speak. I got kicked off the call for a little bit, but I got back on.
Yeah, she got to speak there.
Perfect.
Unless you have
You want
anything
me to
else to
stop
add, Ms.
sharing?
Cabrera. No? All right. And I do want to wrap up and leave with this, because I know we're getting close to the time, is I want everyone to know that at our school here, we have phenomenal kids, and they're just at the stage in their life where they're impulsive, right? And Officer Levy said it best. They're just cognitively not all there yet. And so I say this all the time to kids when I speak to them, that good people make poor decisions, right? It's what we do next. We just want to be as proactive as possible. And then when something does arise, this is their life and their reality now. And something will arise eventually. And we want to catch it early and be as educated as possible, so that it doesn't do them harm further down the road. And what I've learned in this position here in the years I've been here is if these young children know why, they're more likely to listen and not do it, right? And once they realize that this is for their protection and you do outline it and they do understand, they're smart. They then can see further down the road where their brain at this time just isn't programmed to see 25 years old yet. And it's not any of their make them good, bad, undoing. It is what it is right now. So I think once you sit and have these conversations and outline what that looks like and what these consequences can be, it gives them the tools necessary to make those better decisions, because they can see what the future looks like as you're having these conversations to talk with them. So keep that in mind. You're doing a great job. Being a parent is not an easy job. It's not an easy, it's 10 times more than when my mom was a mom. So you guys are doing a great job. And we just thought this was really important for everybody to hear and to have Officer Levy on. So thank you, Officer Levy, for coming on, and everybody who shared. And thank you for Miss Nelson allowing me to have Tuesday chat with Coach Rowe.